It is 10 p.m. Do you know where your Grunkle Scott is? Hello, everyone. Welcome to another action-packed edition of David Lee Madison's The End of the Night here on the Indie Escape Network. I'm here with my beloved co-host, producer, and just overall great friend, Mr. Joe Ridgely. Joe, how are you, my friend?
I am fantastic. Glad to be back, especially after that Super Bowl. That was, I don't even want to.
Well, what happened? You were, did you have a problem with it in some way?
Well, yeah, kind of. Well, first of all, Dave sold us all out so he could watch the Super Bowl with his friends.
Right, absolutely.
But no, the holding at the end, that kind of put a damper on the rest of the game, obviously.
Oh, the way that foul allowed Kansas City to run the clock out and kick the field goal?
Yes.
You know what's funny? It was actually, when you really think about it as on a football term, it was an extraordinarily ballsy call on the Kansas City Chiefs' part because in this day and age, almost every field goal is contested. It's not like back when I was younger, field goals seemed to be almost automatic. You know, the kickers seemed to be so much more advanced back then. But even though it was almost a chip shot, I mean, these guys mix extra points now, so it's you just don't know what's going to happen.
True.
Yes. So what else is cooking with you, Mr. Ridgely? I see Wendy's show started. What are we? We're 2 episodes in.
We're 2 episodes in. We got some pretty cool episodes coming up, if I may discuss real fast.
Absolutely.
Thursday night, we have a favorite of the network, and that's David Howard Thornton. This guy has been on probably 8 or 9 times in the past 5 or 6 years, and he is just awesome. And then next month, it's really cool. They're going to have voice actor Billy West on.
Oh, that is awesome.
Look at all those characters this cat voices, man. And there's so many more. I just couldn't fit them all on one card. And a big announcement is JW and Rich, they're moving to Monday night starting February 28th.
Awesome. They have a great show too. I mean, I'm super excited. David is a great guest, a dear friend of this show, and is just a great guy. I can't wait to see what Wendy's crew has in store for him. And
well, the whole thing is Amy had a little bit of a crush, and she asked if it could be arranged. So,
well, I'm sure that's going to break Scott's heart because I thought Scott was the crush. I mean, I don't know. That might be something that changes weekly. I'm not sure. I can't wait for it to be my turn if it ever happens. I don't know. Maybe without the beard. A lot of people think I look weird without a beard. What do you think?
Well, they're starting to think I look weird with the beard, so.
Well, you look weird either way, so it's not going to.
Fair enough.
It's not going to help. No. With that being said, what being said, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm super excited about tonight's show. We're having Jeremy Ambler on, who is known for so many feature films and from The Walking Dead, and he was on like right in the beginning. And I know Jeremy for a long time now. He's a great guy. He's a really smart kid, a smart actor. I don't mean any disrespect by calling him a kid because I'm an old man compared to me. He's a kid. And he's had a wonderful career. He'll be on in just a little bit. And Grunkle Scott Schiaffo will be joining us in just a little bit. Joe, tell me a little bit about that wonderful venture that you and your lovely wife and daughter have cooking, because I am a big fan of their products, and I think everybody who's watching this show should check them out.
Well, thank you. That would be Hearts of the Mystic Folk. They're all natural, hand poured, scented waxes, candles, wickless candles, room sprays. They're going crazy with crystals and all this other stuff and holistic. I don't know if I can even describe what's going on anymore. They're just blowing up. But yes, thank you very much. Hearts of the Mystic Folk on Facebook and Instagram.
No, I mean, all kidding aside, their products are fantastic. Their wax melts are literally, they're actually too good. They should probably, I mean, we would have bought a lot more from you guys if the ones that we haven't bought from you literally just stay like forever.
Just
So,
so you know, they made a change because you and Libby actually brought something up a number of times that they look too much like candy bars.
oh, okay.
So now they're making little BBs instead.
Oh,
So
sweet.
there's and they're going to be in refillable jars or containers now. So
Oh, nice. So you don't want, because like idiots like me, you don't want them to mistake it for candy and start chewing on them because, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, as you probably know by now. So have you saw the new Ant-Man movie?
I have not. I have no desire, to be honest.
No, neither do I. For some reason, I think I'm going to end my. As you know, I'm critical of some MCU movies and some I love. I think, which is actually a fair way to look at it because not every movie is going to be great. I mean, I thought Infinity War was fantastic. I thought Endgame sucked. I thought the original Thor movie was fantastic. I think Captain Marvel sucked. I think the last Doctor Strange movie, directed by Raimi, was a lot of fun. I think the last Thor movie sucks. I mean, you got to be fair.
Well, you dodged Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. What did you think of that?
I have not seen it, and
Okay.
sadly, I think that's going to fall in the I've had my fill of Marvel movies category because it's been too long.
Thank you for joining us, Ken.
Mr. Ken, how are you? I hope you're having a lovely evening.
But yes, I kind of think Marvel, Disney, it's getting oversaturated. It's not as exciting as it used to be because these things didn't come out. They weren't a thing 20 years ago.
Yeah, no, they used to be like event filmmaking, big summer blockbusters.
Right.
And now they're releasing them in the middle of February, which is where they used to release films that they wanted to, where studios had no real hope for them to be a success. So when you're releasing a movie in February, it's pretty much telling the movie going public that you're releasing a steaming piece of shit. And I have
Experience with that? Oh no,
yeah,
I was kidding. Oh, I was kidding.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I don't like you anyway. So about 4 hours ago on the Paramount Network, they're doing a Yellowstone, like where they're showing all the Yellowstones in a row. And I started watching them, and now I'm a mental patient. I want to go back and watch all of these Yellowstones because they're actually kind of cool. And I'm going to get into them right now because, of course, when I get into them, they'll fire Kevin Costner and
So, do you happen to know if Yellowstone is like the Arrowverse on CW? Do you have to pay attention to the other shows in order to understand what's going on?
I really don't know. I mean, I'm only about 5 episodes in, and sadly, I'm into. I didn't even start in the beginning. I think I'm in the middle of season 3.
Wow!
But it's literally it's like Sopranos for hillbillies.
Okay.
It's like cowboy Midwest Sopranos for hillbillies, and it takes place. And it's kind of funny because my pal Huey Lewis has a ranch in Montana that's like 900 acres. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
And the show is about a ranch in Montana that's like enormous, and I see so many parallels in the universe on what happens on this show, and what I know happened to Huey out there in Montana on his ranch. So I think it's pretty cool. But what the hell do I know?
Well, I mean, after all, you are the Lord of Time and Space, apparently.
I am, but sadly, I'm going to resign from that job so I can become my dream profession, what I've always wanted to be since I'm a little boy, a jizz mopper. I want to be a jizz mopper. I want to be that guy who, after you make a deposit in one of those little quarter booths, that goes in and cleans up the mess after.
And this is why David Lee Madison's going to be on the next episode of the Sticky Microphone.
Well, there you go. I fit right in. You know, it's funny. I look like shit tonight. I hope I don't have this might be a very important red letter episode in the history of David Lee Madison's the Night. I look like shit. I'm tired. I'm edgy. And I might actually have a stroke on live broadcast right now. How cool would that be?
Wait a minute. You only have the mustache now?
I only have the mustache. I'm thinking about resuming my porn career.
Okay.
And with the porn career, you just want to have the little goofy mustache like that. So.
You may want to go over the sides a little more.
I need to get a haircut too. It's like starting to look like a fucking chia pet, man.
Oh, don't even get me started on that.
All right, before we go on this crazy train wreck of a show, hello, Crystal. I hope you have a good evening too.
Crystal, hello.
Is she a new watcher? I'm not familiar with Crystal.
She is actually one of the stars of Harlow's Haunt.
Oh, sweet.
Terry's movie. Awesome. And she also just got a national account. Crystal, I'm sorry, was it Cricket Wireless, I think?
Oh, wow. Is that Ryan Reynolds' company, or is he somebody else? I don't know.
I think so.
Well, congratulations, Crystal. That's awesome. Continue the good work. And I can't wait to see Harlow's Haunt. That should be... Terry's a great guy, and I can't wait to see.
You know what? I forgot to plug one thing, if I may, real fast. And you know what? I don't think I looked. Dumbass, did you load it? I didn't load it.
It is Cricket, so congratulations, Crystal, on
nice. So next month, April 1st, I believe. The month after next.
Be an April Fool's gag?
No. MegaCon down here in Orlando. And she's saying, yes, you're going to love it. So Harlow's Haunt is going to have a viewing or screening at MegaCon in Orlando. And then they're also going to have a panel. Now, MegaCon in Orlando is huge. I mean, the amount of celebrities that are going to be there and everything is just insane. But they asked me to moderate their panel, which is an honor. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Congratulations. They couldn't have picked a
better guy?
No, I guess they could have. I guess there's a lot of people they could have picked who would have been better. But yeah, good job. I'm just kidding, bro. You know I love you.
Yeah, man.
David should know. David doesn't set foot in Florida unless there's a six-figure payday attached to it.
Wait a minute, people get paid for this shit?
I'm not a big... It's a Florida guy. It's a Florida, right? Florida, you guys are in?
Yeah, it's going to be in Orlando. Huge.
Oh, gotcha. Anywhere DeSantis is, Dave is not. With that being said, is our partner in crime, our third amigo, our beloved pop culture icon, ready to join us?
That sexy beast? I think so.
Without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, Grunkle Scott Schiaffo. Hello, Grunkle Scott.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
How are you?
I'm good.
I got some good news for you. It's for the first time in maybe 4 or 5 shows that you look fabulous. You look healthy. You're bright-eyed. You're bushy-tailed. You look awesome. So congratulations on coming back to Earth, Mr. Schiaffo.
Well, thank you all. You are the only guy for it, Joe. Oh, yes. Very good for you, Joe. Yes, hanging in there. Doing good. Thank you very much.
Now, I know that you have next weekend an enormous show in Florida, actually. I'm sorry that you have to go through that, but go ahead, promote away.
I'm losing my Florida cherry. I've never been to Florida.
Really?
What?
Well, I hope you could hold your breath for 72 hours.
Wow. I mean, I don't even really consider it Florida. You're so close to Alabama at that point that...
Is it really close to a border? It's not deep in Florida?
You're closer to Alabama than you are to the southern part of Florida.
What is it in Pensacola? Is that?
Unfortunately, there's no way in without a connecting flight. So I thought that it was one of the smaller scenarios down there. I'm not at all making a judgment on that, but I just assumed it was smaller than the major cities.
Oh, no, Pensacola, there's a base there.
You know what's great about Pensacola? They have a Whataburger. So Scott, do me a favor while you're in Pensacola. Make sure you have a Whataburger. Take a picture of yourself eating the Whataburger while giving me the finger at the same time, and send it to me so that I could sit up here on my house in Pennsylvania and weep.
Well, I mean, you guys know the drill. Like, rarely do we get out of the convention centers much.
Mm. Okay.
Hmm.
Anything else cooking, Mr. Schiaffo?
Not really. Looking forward to a couple other gigs in spring, but I'm at a rare loss for words, actually. I'm a little burnt. It's a very long day today. I've been packing because I'm doing the multiple dwellings thing, so I'm not used to leaving from here for a show.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go grab a bunch of stuff, and then, of course, I forgot a bunch of stuff, and then I had to go buy a bunch of stuff, and then I forgot a bunch of stuff. So
Oh, sweet.
I'm burnt, yeah.
All right, so let's not keep our super lovely and super talented guest any longer in the green room. Everybody in the horror community knows this cat from numerous horror films. You don't own a piece of Walking Dead merchandise without this cat's picture on it. I can't believe everything from lunchboxes to board games to I seen one guy had a Walking Dead car at a convention. It had Jeremy on the side. This cat's face, he's literally the face of the Walking Dead. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jeremy Ambler.
Hey, thanks
Hey,
for
brother,
having
how are
me.
you?
Good.
So, Jeremy, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
And
Glad to be here.
my first question for you is, I mean, you and I know each other for over a decade now, and we've had numerous conversations. But I never got to ask you this personally. How did you get involved with The Walking Dead?
Well, I had worked on the remake of the movie The Crazies
Oh, okay.
in Georgia, and Extras Casting in Atlanta were the same casting people for the walkers on Walking Dead. And at the time, when I was working on the remake of The Crazies, there was some kind of rumor going around that some kind of zombie show was coming to Georgia called The Walking Dead. And at the time, I had no clue what The Walking Dead was, other than the fact that it was a comic book type comic book, and they were going to make it into a TV series for AMC. So when casting came around for season 1, I was working on something else at the time. I can't even remember what the movie was, but since it was only 6 episodes, and at the time with season 1, you had to go to zombie school, or else, you just didn't work on season 1. So when season 2 came around, I was cast as a zoo protester in the Three Stooges movie that the Farrelly brothers filmed. And they said, well, come be a part of that. And then the next day, while you're in Georgia, while you're in town, come and do zombie school with Greg Nicotero. So little did I know, at the time, I remember, when they originally wanted me for season 1, it was like a full week zombie school. But when season 2 came around, it was like a 3-hour workshop. So it was much better, much easier on me. Mm-hmm. Basically, I guess they learned that within a 3-hour workshop they basically spread it all out to where they had us in groups to come in. So one group would come in, another group would come in, and it would be 3 hours of everybody's time. And then we would show Greg what we could do as far as looks, action, walk, all that stuff. So that's kind of how the whole zombie school Walking Dead thing, came about for me.
Now, after you shoot it, and you see that it's becoming kind of like a pop culture phenomenon,
right?
Do you have any idea? Was it just a stroke of God or luck? Do you have any idea why you appeared on so much of their merchandise at that time?
Well, I know that Greg, he wanted to make sure that I did a photo shoot at the end. Mm-hmm. So when we were done filming, I was back on the shuttle bus, getting ready to go back to set to get the makeup off, and he got jumped on the bus and said, "Jeremy, we're not done with you yet. We're going to do a a photo shoot with a few of you guys. But he didn't really tell me what they were going to do with the photos, because there was a lot of photos taken on set too, in between takes, on set, action photos, all kinds of different stuff. So, I'm thinking, well, we'll see what happens. So the rest is pretty much history, with all the merchandising and stuff that they've put me on, between the t-shirts, the hats, the trading cards, the board games, the Monopoly board, just a little bit of everything: belts, belt buckles, posters, hats, you name it. They've put me on it as far
No,
as
it's
the merchandise for Walking Dead.
It's absolutely astonishing. Now, how did you feel after doing that and going into like a store and seeing your mug on a T-shirt or on the board game or on a Walking Dead poster? Did you say like, "Holy shit, how did that happen"?
Right. Well, it's so funny because I remember the first time that I did see myself, and it was on one of the T-shirts. That was one of the first things they ever brought out with me on it, and it was a T-shirt that had me in the O of "Don't Get Bit," and that's why you see a lot of the autographs I signed "Don't Get Bit," and it's GIT instead of GET. Because that's how the T-shirt was. So a lot of people said, "Did you spell that wrong?" I'm like, "No, it's just how the T-shirt was." So that's how I go for the get. But yeah, it was pretty wild, to go in Walmart and say, "Hey, look, that that's what they were doing. That's why they wanted these photos and stuff." And then stuff just kept on coming, and it's so crazy how they've continuously put me on stuff, even since the show's over and they got the spinoffs now. There's a few things that they still make Walking Dead, and it has me on it.
I know it is absolutely astonishing.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, and that's pretty awesome. Now, if this is too sticky of a question, you don't have to answer it. But did they compensate you in any way extra for all that shit you end up on, or are you just kind of victim of having that awesome look that they were
That's
looking
one
for?
of AMC's things. They pay you for the gig.
Right.
And as far as the merchandise and stuff, it's just like many other actors and actresses. Anything that they make, we don't get any of that. It's the AMC gets all that.
That infamous likeness is part of the clause. Your
Right.
image and your likeness, that you're signing it all away.
It's funny because I think that if they're going to use somebody's likeness over and over again, like they do use Jeremy's, that there should be an additional. But what the hell do I know?
It's cool. There's no other residual or anything. It's just, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, I mean, there's some movies and shows that I've worked on where I do get residual checks. Like I just got a residual check the other day for Killing Lincoln, which I played George Robinson in that. So that was nice. That was been a year, almost a year or two since I've seen a residual. So it was kind of an expensive residual check for me. So that was actually good.
Now, I know that I recently saw you on Showtime in one of the new Wrong Turn movies, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
And
Wrong Turn, but the new one with Matthew Modine. Yeah.
Right. How was it working on an iconic franchise like that? And you were awesome in it, by the way. And to work with somebody of Matthew Modine's caliber.
Well, it was cool because I made a lot of friendships working on Wrong Turn. Me being a fan of the original films, and of course living in West Virginia as well, in the same county that the Wrong Turn movies is supposed to take place in. So when the casting thing came around, they wanted skinny people for a certain scene, which you never know what the scene is. So I had sent in for it, and about 2 days later, Lynn Meyer's casting wrote me back and said that director Mike P. Nelson, that directed the new Wrong Turn, wanted me to be in it. And they said the makeup was involved, but I didn't know exactly to what extent what I was going to be doing, other than they really didn't explain until I got there. And they said, well, you're going to be one of the cave people that's actually in the cave, the Foundation's cave, and you're going to have your eyes burned out in the scene. So they CGI'd our eyes out. And yeah, and of course the scene, I shared the scene with Matthew Modine and Charlotte Vega's characters. And Matthew Modine, I've actually stayed in touch with on Twitter. He likes some of my stuff. And he actually shared an interview that I did for Wrong Turn when it came out. He actually shared it on his Twitter page, which was really, really nice and really, really cool of him. I had seen him after we shot the film a couple months later at the Alamo in Winchester, Virginia. They were doing a Matthew Modine week, and they showed a lot of his older movies like Full Metal Jacket and Vision Quest and stuff like that. And he did signings after each show, and for the fans and stuff. And he saw me standing in line, and he looked at me, said, "Jeremy, where's your face?" Talking about my makeup, because he never saw me without the makeup on when we worked. He only saw me with the grotesque makeup on. So that was kind of cool and everything. And then I became good friends with Jenny Malone. She was also the cave lady in the movie, which Damien Maffei's character drags her on the chain in that one shot. And then she's in the cave with me and the others. And then she's also me and Jenny's also eating on Damien in that one scene after he gets shot. So it was, and Damien, for those of you who don't know, Damien was the man in the mask in The Strangers 2.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
Yes,
and he's
I know
also
Damien.
playing one of the voices in the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre game as well. He's one of the new villains that they're putting in there with the original villains. So yeah, so it was really, really cool, really, really fun to work with all those guys and make friendships. And of course, I had knew Damien. I'd never met him before then, and so that was really cool that he was working on that film too. So pretty
Damien's a
neat,
good
pretty
guy.
cool, really fun.
We have JW. Hello, gentlemen. Yes,
Hey,
JW.
JW, hope you're well, brother.
We plugged earlier that you're moving to Monday nights.
And I see former guest and wonderful writer Tom Duffy says, "I'd go to zombie school any day." I think you'd make a great student at zombie school, Mr. Duffy. I actually think you'd be pretty
Yeah,
good.
I think after I don't know how many seasons, but I heard that eventually they just kind of got rid of Zombie School. They didn't do it as much.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why some of the zombies changed over time on the show.
Zombie school would be amazing.
Uh,
JW has a
There
question.
you go.
How did Jeremy handle acting with the CGI and still be able to complete the scenes?
Well, depends on what film we're talking about.
I think he's talking about these Wrong Turn.
Wrong Turn with
Yep.
the makeup. Well, the makeup actually, it was makeup, but then again, the CGI part is only in the eyeballs.
Right.
So you basically, I just had to act blind
Okay.
when I come toward them in the cave because I'm the first one that you see when they enter the cave. It was a little difficult because my intuition is to get in zombie mode.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to try to control my zombie mode because I wanted to walk like a zombie instead of just a regular person that was blind and couldn't see. It was all messed up, So, but I kind of said, no, I can't walk like a zombie because that's not going to look right,
Now, did
But
they have
it's funny because the fans will come up to me and Jenny at these conventions and think we're zombies in Wrong Turn, and we have to explain, no, we're not zombies. We're humans that are messed up, burned eyes, and we're just pretty much lost.
Now, did they put green or blue fabric over your eyes so that they could later put the CGI
No.
in, or no? Okay.
No, they just did the makeup stuff, and it was
Okay.
over the eyes. And then I guess they went in there and they CGI'd them all the way out.
Yeah, because sometimes they need like a point of reference when they do the CGI. They either paint them green or blue so that when the CGI is done later, the computer could acknowledge what parts need to be CGI'd.
Right. Yeah, that would have been probably pretty cool if they would have did it that way. But no, they just basically said, well, pretend like because you're not gonna have any eyes, so you just gotta kind of go with it. So I'm like, okay.
Now that you're bringing this up, did any of you guys see Shin Godzilla? It was the big Godzilla movie that they made in Japan right after the Godzilla movie was a big hit here. And at one point, they have like a baby Godzilla. I'm just going off track for a second. They have a baby Godzilla in this movie, and he has like big googly eyes on him.
Like,
Do you guys have any idea what the hell?
Godzuki?
No. It's called Shin Godzilla, and it's
Yeah,
not Godzilla's kid in this
Okay.
movie. It's literally Godzilla as a baby.
Oh,
And he crawls through Japan, and he's got little guppy arms and googly eyes, and the shit was like hysterical. I don't know.
No,
This-
I've never seen. I'm more of the classic Godzilla. If I watch any kind of Godzilla stuff, I like the classic type stuff.
Are we going back to like Raymond Burr action, or are we talking about like King Kong versus Godzilla kind of Godzilla?
All that's the Raymond Burr, and then anything starting through there on 60s, 70s. Yeah.
I hear you. So tell me, you and I have been blessed to be on the road many times at the same conventions, and I love to observe the people around me. And what I've observed about you, Jeremy, is that you're extraordinarily kind to all your fans and to all the Walking Dead folks out there. Tell us a little bit about some of your experiences at some of these conventions with these Walking Dead fans. Do you have any kind of cool stories or anything that you want to share?
Well, throughout the years, I mean, I've been doing this, as you well know, you guys know, I've been doing these conventions and these appearances for many, many years now. And just being able to get out there and meet the fans and the joy that you bring to them, and being able to take pictures and sign autographs for them, and just having fans, because like I say, without our fans, we don't have the fan base, So I know that there's very few actors out there that do conventions. Some of them aren't the nicest, over the years that I've kind of encountered a couple of those, but I've never been like that. I'm always nice and polite, and I love doing it. I love going out there and doing all that stuff, and then the other cool thing is to meet you guys, and sign autographs with you guys too. So that's always friendships made as well. So, that's a big plus too. And I've made lots of friendships at a lot of these conventions with a lot of TV legends as well. So it's always in movie legends. So it's really, really cool sometimes to be able to meet people that you grew up watching and idolizing and everything else, on top of that. So, and I've, some very close friendships with some of them too. So it's really, really, really cool.
Yep, I seen you out in Port Jervis, New York at Haven for Heroes, which is a great comic book store. And you were out there with the lovely and beautiful Dahlia Lagault, who was also on Walking Dead with you. And I was just flabbergasted. Like the entire community came out. There was like a giant line, and you guys were so kind and so professional, and talking with everybody and signing autographs and taking pictures. And that's a really cool way to approach your fans, because not everybody's like that. A lot of people take the convention business. Luckily, almost everybody I know understands, what they're really there for. But some of them don't. So I'm giving you kudos because you're incredibly nice and kind to everybody who comes out.
Right. Yeah, that
It's
was
funny.
a lot of fun. And I know that I would love to go back at Halloween time and do something up there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it would bring a lot of people out. I think it would be a lot of fun. And I mean, me and Dahlia did a few conventions and appearances and stuff together, and she's always great to hang out with and to see after so many years. I hadn't seen her in I don't know how many years till last year when you managed to get us that gig up there. So that was a lot of fun.
Oh no, and
Am I, Jeremy? I seem to recall you had. Did you also travel with a car from the show at one point?
Yes, I have I do have a Walking Dead Hyundai Tucson that has the zombie hands on the sides of the car, and I also do have some autographs on the dash. So yeah, I actually still have the car. I don't travel with it as much. It needs a little bit of work. It's actually, I took it. It's so funny because a couple of years ago I ended up having to put a new engine in it because I had traveled everywhere with it. So now it needs something. It needs something else. It's cost about $400 to put it on. So it's just a local car, but I do travel in my Hyundai Kona, which is an Iron Man edition.
oh sweet. If you
So
remember,
it's kind
Scott,
of a cool car. Yeah, it's kind of a cool car.
if you remember,
Dude.
Scott, Jeremy was out with us at Wild West City when we did that Halloween gig out there. That was pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Well, I think I'm that I recall, but I think I'm remembering Hush from several years ago is when he had the car.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wilkes-Barre.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's when it was brand
I
new.
remember you brought me out to see it, and I was like, "Wow, this is
Yeah.
pretty cool."
Yeah, that's when it was brand new. That's like, I think it was like only 2 weeks old.
Like 10 years ago, yeah, at least.
Yeah, so it's because it's a 2014, so it's aged some.
Hey Joe, there was actually at that show at Wild West City, we had a giant barn where the barn door swung open and there was a stage.
Yeah,
And
that
on
was
the
fun.
on the stage, Scott was jamming with Kevin Van Hentenryck from Basket Case. And
Nice.
Nicholas Brendan from Buffy the Vampire
Yeah, I
Slayer
remember that.
sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow that was like unbelievably haunting. It was like that show they put on that night.
So wait a minute. For people that don't know what's going, Mr. Hush's Weekend of Fear is what we're referring to.
Yeah, Mr. Hush Weekend of Fear. We took over a theme park in New Jersey, a Texas town. It's literally
Joe Bob was there too.
Jim Bob Briggs was there. It was a star-studded event. It was pretty awesome. And then on the Saturday night, we had an all-star concert where Scott jammed with Kevin Van Henryck from Basket Case. Brian O'Halloran shared lead vocals and did like War Pigs, I think. And,
Really?
Yeah, and Nicholas Brendan did Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It was literally one of the most bizarre but coolest fucking things I ever
No, wait a minute.
seen.
I want to see Brian singing War Pigs. Where can I see this?
I don't know.
I don't know if anybody taped that section, but he does. Brian does that karaoke when it's available. You'd be shocked at how good he really. I mean, he really is very good.
Yeah, I've seen Ming do it as well, and
we did a bunch of Stones that night, like a real band. We had
we had Alan Jacks Bowers from
Jimmy Buffett.
Buffett's band. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Clerks 3. It was great. And that was actually the first one I've ever seen. Like, I had not seen one and I had not seen two. But now I want to go back and watch those two because I like the third one. The third one
will make a lot more sense if you see the first. I think the first and third probably hang even tighter than the first, second, and third.
Right.
Not that the second is not just as equally as connected to the entire series, but
it's a little out there.
They're heavily connected.
Right. That's what I figured. But yeah, I liked it. I saw it in the theater, so it was really cool.
All right, David, is it all right if I hit a few of these comments real fast? All right, so John Wayne, that's exactly what I was thinking. The idea of using something you have done like the Zombie School versus what is different with the Wrong Turn films. These Wrong Turn films. Oh. However you want to interpret that. So, Sean Smithson.
Hey, Sean, I hope you're well, brother.
I know that cat. He made me these.
Oh, look at that.
Anyway, Crystal saying getting to do conventions and meet people is the dream.
It's fun.
And John Wayne, how were the wrestlers to work with in Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies? That's a good one.
That was fun. You know, that was one of my earlier zombie type movies. That was right after I did Walking Dead, from what I can remember. But yeah, it was fun, you know, because I got to work with Roddy Piper and Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Kurt Angle and all those guys. Wow. And struck up a good friendship with Roddy Piper before he passed away and stuff. So it was fun working with those guys. I was one of the ringside zombies in a couple of scenes, and then there was a close-up of me reaching into the ring. I do remember that. But that was, you know, it's out on Troma actually picked that up for a release, and it's actually out on Blu-ray DVD. So it was fun. It's different. I mean, if you like zombies and pro wrestlers, then that's pretty much your movie. Yeah, it's fun.
I always wanted to ask you, how was it working on the John Adams miniseries? That must have been really cool.
Oh yeah, well, you know, the John Adams miniseries, I have lots of stories about that. That was really cool because with John Adams, that's how I became Screen Actors Guild eligible, because I worked 8 days on that, and how that all happened and how all that came about. Originally, I had sent in to be in that, And casting people in Virginia, we filmed that in Virginia. We filmed it in Colonial Williamsburg, the jail stuff. And then over in Mechanicsville, they actually had a building where they built sound stages for like the courtroom. And then they actually built an old town, and it's actually still there for like projects for like, those type of projects. So there's this old town that they built for like our Boston Massacre scene and stuff. But, it was really fun because when I got cast for that, it was just a regular extra role in the beginning. They wanted me to be one of the people in the town hall scene. And I went in and got a wardrobe fitting, wig fitting, all that stuff. And after all that was done, as I was walking out of the wardrobe room, and there's this guy past me in the hall, and he said, excuse me. And I didn't know he was talking to me, but my mom was with me there. And she said, Jeremy, I think he's talking to you. And so I turned around, and he said, excuse me, sir. He said, what's your name? And I told him, I said, Jeremy Ambler. And he's like, thank you. And that's all he said to me. He said, thank you, and walked on. So I'm like, I looked at my mom, and I said, I think something big's going to come out of this. Well, about 2 weeks later, casting called me and said, well, Tom Hooper is offering you a featured role, and you're going to be one of the main Boston Massacre soldiers in the Boston Massacre, the episode 1. You're going to be highly featured with Paul Giamatti and Richie Coster and Danny Houston. So I worked with all those guys. And the first day we filmed in the jail, the real jail at Colonial Williamsburg, which they call it the public ghoul or something. And so I'm there, and, the scene, everybody's serious, because John Adams comes in, we're in the jail because, we've just had the Boston Massacre. So they put us in the jail, and he's coming in to say that he's going to be our lawyer and he's going to defend us and everything. And here I am, and I don't realize at the time, but they have me standing the whole time right beside Paul Giamatti. So they're shooting this thing, and of course we're supposed to be serious, and I've got a smile on my face the whole time. So Tom Hooper, it's so funny, he yells cut, and he looks at me, he says, Jeremy, he said, I know you're glad to be here, but he's like be more serious. So everybody laughs. Richie Coster, Paul Giamatti, everybody laughs. I laugh. It's kind of embarrassing to me, but I'm having a good time. I'm loving this. It was my very first featured extra role. So, and I worked 8 days on it, and I got to know everybody, and everybody was so cool. I got to get pictures with them, eat with them, autographs, all that stuff. Like they were really, really cool. And I remember that final night that we shot John Adams. It was the Boston Massacre scene. It was really, really cold outside. And, of course, we have these big red coats on and stuff. But they're, when the wind's blowing and they got that fake snow going and all that stuff, it's really, really, it's still cold. So Richie Coster, in between takes, he said, Jeremy, he said, do you want to put on my big long red coat jacket? He said, but you're going to have to keep giving it back and forth to me, when we start to film. And I told him, I said, no, that's all right. But it was just cool that we all, gained that friendship. I made those friendships with everybody. So it would be cool, if I ever see those guys or work with those guys again, I'm sure they would definitely remember me from working with them on John Adams. So it was a lot of fun. Really, really cool experience.
That's awesome. You can go the rest of your life saying, I worked with Paul Giamatti and Matthew Modine. And dude, you should be very proud of yourself, because that's super awesome accomplishments.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. And then they've got me on the menus for the John Adams on the Blu-ray DVD. And there's a photo that HBO came out when their press book that had me behind Paul Giamatti in the courtroom. And I've got all that stuff. It's really cool to look back on and see all that stuff. But it was a lot of fun too, And, I got to eat dinner with them and lunch every day. So that was pretty neat too.
No, I could imagine. I know you got a new picture out with a dear friend of the show and a dear friend of mine, Mr. Jim Crut. Tell us a little bit about this movie.
Yeah, it's an indie horror comedy. I think it's a little bit of a comedy thriller type thing. I'm not really for sure what all the elements is in the film. I know that it is a big zombie flick, and it involves zombies and all that. But yeah, I'm the plaza lead zombie. Out in the plaza, and how that happened. My buddy, I'm sure you know who Matt Burns is. I'm sure you've met Matt. My buddy Matt Burns said, "Well, I have a friend that's making a movie called Zero, and we would like you to have a cameo in it as a featured zombie." So I'm like, okay, I'm like, oh, I'll do this. I'll see what comes out of this. So I actually bite and attack two girls. I actually bite one of them on the neck. And when I bite her, there's a close-up of me that I come up from her neck and drip this blood out of my mouth. So it goes all the way down my chin. And it's a major close-up of me kind of looking sideways to the camera with the blood dripping, supposedly. It's really, they said it's pretty gnarly looking on camera. So, I know that they had the Waynesboro, Pennsylvania premiere last night, which I wasn't there, but everybody's been blowing up my phone with numerous messages and saying it was so awesome. It got that scene in particular got a major applause from the audience and screams and all that stuff. So I'm sure that was really cool. So I'm hoping when we have our Winchester, Virginia Alamo premiere this Friday at 9:00. I know that if any of you guys are interested in attending that, there is a limited amount of seats still left. I think that's only the first row is available on the ticket seating. So I know that if you guys are interested and you live close to Winchester, Virginia, come out and see the film because we are doing a premiere at the Alamo Draft House in Winchester, Virginia this Friday. So I'll be there to see my scene, to see what all the hype's about. I know when we shot it, I figured it'd be pretty cool. So I can't wait to see exactly the final cut of it. So,
Jeremy,
yeah.
I have one last question for you before we let you go
Okay.
for the evening. If you could pick your dream role as the leading man in a film, what type of role would it be? Or if you just want to pick like a historical film character so that we get an idea of what that would be, you could do that.
It would be cool. I mean, I've played lots of cool characters. I mean, even real life characters, from Killing Lincoln, I was George Robinson, and then I was William Weems in the HBO, the John Adams. So I've did a little bit of everything. But I would like to work on some kind of action movie as a cop, a gritty action thriller type thing. I think would be really cool. Would really test my acting ability a little bit. Like those buddy cop movies, I think would be a lot of fun to work on something like that.
It's funny that you should say that because I always wanted to remake Nighthawks, the original Sylvester Stallone, Billy D. Williams, gritty New York City cops fighting a terrorist movie. I thought that was
right.
I think it's actually Stallone's best movie. So maybe if I make that, I'll cast you in Stallone's part.
Right.
With that being said, Jeremy, where can people find you on social media and stuff if they're looking to follow you in your career?
Well, you can actually find me on Facebook, Jeremy Ambler, and then you can also find me on Instagram, Ambler Jeremy, I think is what it is. So yeah, and then I actually have a fan page on Facebook, Jeremy TWD Ambler.
I really want to hit this last question if we could, please. Jeremy, what advice would you give actors that are looking to really break into the Southeast film and TV industry?
Well, a lot of people, through the friendships that I've made with other actors, TV legends and film actors, the advice that people gave me over the years, and I never did this when I started. I just kind of jumped into the whole acting thing. Started off as an extra and worked my way up. But a lot of people say, it's good if you can get into local theater, local plays, stuff like that, so you can build up a resume and stuff to have something to go by whenever you're auditioning for a movie or a show whether it be for a speaking role or a featured extra type role as well. And a lot of people ask me, well, do you have an agent for any of this stuff? No, I find everything myself. So I've been very, very fortunate and lucky that, even people that I've worked with, other casting directors and stuff that I've worked with over the years, some of them I've actually stayed in touch with, and they're like, and sometimes they reach out to me with projects I don't even know that's going on, and they'll be like, "Hey, can you send us a photo? Can you do this? Can you do that? Because we think you're perfect for this role, and we think the director will pick you." So a lot of that, I've been very fortunate to where only thing I have to do is send a picture, and pretty much, I get the part if it's something featured.
Can I and Crystal? My 2 cents is to it was what the great Bruce Campbell told me was to work my doughy little ass off. So it's all about hustle, and it's all about being tenacious. And if you get knocked down, get right back up again,
Right.
because that would be pretty fucking epic.
Right.
John
And
Wayne,
then it's all about the look. Your look too. That's where they go now. A lot of it's the look too.
yeah,
So
yeah, and Jeremy's blessed to have a wicked cool look. John Wayne says change Wolfgar to a domestic terrorist and cast Jeremy Nighthawks, but do it as a domestic terrorist hitting liberal New York. Might have something, David. Thank you. Yes, I want to dress the great scene where Stallone's dressed up as in drag and beating the guy up on the 7 train platform on Roosevelt Avenue. Classic. With that being said, Jeremy, thank you for again joining us tonight. Thank you for being a dear friend. Thank you for every time I call you for something stupid in my shenanigans, you always come and
of course, no, it's never stupid. It's always fun, and yeah, just let me know whenever you're, if you have a gig for me or something.
you know that, brother.
I'll come and do it, or a convention or appearance of some sort, a signing, even if it's up in Jersey. I drove all the way up to New York. I can definitely drive up to Jersey too.
No, Jeremy. The next time we're working on something together, it's going to be something in front of a camera. That I assure you.
Okay.
No more, none of this appearance stuff. I got some really cool ideas floating around in this old man's head, and hopefully, if I don't die tonight, I will gladly make that film with you. Again, Jeremy, thank you for being a guest
You're
tonight.
welcome.
Thank you, everybody. If you get a chance to find Jeremy at a convention, you will find a nicer or kinder person to meet. Go out and pick his brain about The Walking Dead or any of his films. Take a picture, get an autograph. He's a great guy. Mr. Ambler, thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank
Good
you,
night,
guys.
Jeremy.
Thanks for having me. See you guys.
See ya.
Anytime
Care.
you want to come on, anytime you have anything to promote, you have a home here whenever you wish.
Of course.
Good
Thanks,
night, brother.
guys.
Good night.
Good night. That was pretty freaking epic.
No, he's a sweet dude. He's a sweet dude, and it's so cool when you really think about it that he will forever be linked to The Walking Dead, which is one of the biggest shows. I mean, like guys like O'Hurley, who is will forever be Peterman on Seinfeld, or Ray, who's on this show, who will always be the mob boss from New York. I can't think of his. He's gonna kill me because I can't think of his name on the show. You guys are Sopranos nuts, aren't you? He's Carmine. He's little Carmine.
Yes, little
Carmine on the Sopranos. Jeremy, who is literally on 90% of all Walking Dead merchandise, which really blows my mind.
That's like, I think he needs to revisit that licensing agreement. He might have some kind of case.
Scott, it's very bizarre. I think he was on 3 episodes as a zombie. So, I mean, we all understand he's not one of the principals. But the fact that he is on, and this is no exaggeration, like 80% of all their merch, it's pretty mind-boggling. And like, I go into the stores and I look at like one of the main characters have like an action figure, and I turn over the action figure card, and they always have the zombies on the back, and there's fucking Jeremy. Like, every time.
Yeah.
He's on the freaking Walking Dead Monopoly board.
Wow.
It's because he had such he looked so fucking badass as a zombie in that show. So that I think that that's why he gets all the love for all the merch.
And Crystal is saying, super nice guy. The Walking Dead is what has been on my vision board since starting acting in 2021. He's inspiring.
Crystal, if you are in Florida, I would look into, there's a lot of really great stuff being shot in Georgia, including what the fuck is that? With the 11. See, I'm getting old. Stranger Things is shot in Georgia. There's a million things going on in.
Hey! Don't discount Florida, man. We're doing a ton of stuff here in Central Florida
Did
and
you
on the
ever
West Coast.
see that episode of Bugs Bunny where he gets a giant saw and he saws Florida off the mainland and it floats out into the ocean? If I had a giant saw, Joe, of course I would call you to come into the real.
You'd give me
United
enough
States.
notice to get on the boat first before
onto the real United States before I got that giant Bugs Bunny saw and cut that shit off. No,
you got to do that to California too. Then, damn it.
No, like God's going to do that to California. As the great Gene Snitsky says, it's the San Andreas, not my fault.
I live here and Bugs is totally right. And he lives like an hour north of me. So
I all kidding aside, I have like shitload of dearest friends. In fact, my dearest friend who literally just passed away at Thanksgiving time lived in Florida. I have very, very, very many dear friends in Florida. I just don't personally dig Florida as a whole, but I love many, many people in Florida, including you, Joe, and Terry, and all those cats down in Florida. I wish nothing but the best. I wish you would move the hell out of that place, but it was. I wish you guys nothing but the best. Florida, you know. But what the hell do I know?
all over the casting calls in Georgia. I have a Southeast agent as well. I keep hoping to get chosen for an audition. You just got cricket. What the hell? If any suggestions in Georgia, please share. Terry, yes, Terry Gerald, correct. Terry.
Crystal, if you friend me on Facebook, I will hook you up with some casting people I know. If you're interested, that's up to you.
You got to realize that Terry was involved with us for the past few years prior to actually being the Indie Escape. So, yeah,
yes.
We love Terry.
Yes, Terry's a good guy. I actually spoke to him about drones for 3 hours one day. I literally wanted to shoot myself in the face, but somehow I managed to talk to him about drones for 3 hours.
It was an hour.
No.
No?
It was 3 hours.
It felt like 3 hours on the convention circuit, yes. But that's when Terry wasn't as light back then. Terry was direct to the point. Yes.
I'm teasing Terry. He's an awesome guy.
He is
David,
awesome
I sincerely thank you for that. I will friend you. Only 3 hour rating about drone. Oh, okay.
Everybody knows about the drone calf.
The drones.
Drone calf. DJ.
So, yay. I guess we will not be on next week because we won't be a team. Mr. Schiaffo will be in Pensacola. Are you back the week before, Mr. Schiaffo?
The week, afterwards, sure.
Yeah, the week after. Yeah.
Sure, I believe so. I have nothing. Like I said, the next March, April, May. So I'll be pretty good on the weekends for a while.
Sweet, that is awesome. I have nothing to promote. I'm getting old, and I literally just want to sit at home and herd cats. That's pretty much all I want to do. Crystal loves Terry. He's a lucky man, and he's got a beautiful wife, so be careful. I could pop on next week if you like. Oh, look at JW. He's like stepping on your grave, Mr. Schiaffo.
Well, that's because he's got his new show coming up Monday.
Welcome to it.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see if me and Joe want to get up on Sunday night and do this for the 9,246,383rd time.
I will not be available next weekend.
Oh, you won't be? Okay.
I will not be.
So then we'll come back week after next. What does Ken say here?
Well,
I want to shoot something with you guys. Oh, nice. Libby, you know who you should really get together with is the cat we just had on, Jeremy. He lives really close to where you guys live down there in Waynesboro. So you guys should connect. He's a great guy. Scott, when you come to Cornwall, I have requested Border Patrol to give you a full cavity check. Ken, I don't think you have to request that, brother. I think that goes without saying.
If you guys know the story, then you know.
Then you know the story. I would never step on Scott, Mr. Carroll says. Yeah, I know. We're just teasing you, brother.
I said, listen, really, that's fine, but that's all good. JJW's a great movie brain.
Oh yeah, no doubt. That's why they're gonna do Oscar shows or Oscar movies starting the following week when they start on Monday, and they're gonna do every decade starting with the 30s.
Oh, sweet.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got a little piece of news that Libby will be excited. On or around March 1st, Fangoria's website will release exclusively the first 5 minutes of Full Moon Fever. So you might want to take a look at that, Libby. It's rather exciting.
Fangoria?
Yeah, Fangoria.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Well, they actually did the same thing for both Mr. Hush and Mr. Hush Legacy. They released only the first 90 seconds of Mr. Hush Legacy because it's a 14-minute
It was short,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah. But so that's something to look out for. Because Libby is a wonderful part of the beginning of that movie, as is Matt and Jim Crut, and really...
yeah, definitely. Congrats on Fangoria. Oh, I'm sorry. Oscar Decade Cavalcade.
Well, when's the Oscars? Did that happen already? Did I miss that?
No, that was the Grammys we were on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so we'll have to have our big Oscar show so we could talk about Will Smith smacking somebody and have no
Yes,
idea
let's
what
have
the hell
another
it's
train wreck of an Oscar show.
Remember that? Yeah. Oh my God, we were on.
about. Train wreck of an Oscar show. Is March 12th the Oscars, John Wayne? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying.
Sweet. So yes, we'll have John Wayne. I'd love to have you on that because you're just a fountain of
Him and Rich, man.
and you can opine about how great Ant-Man was, which I'm sure.
No, actually, I think he was disappointed in Ant-Man.
Oh, was he? Okay, I thought I
Yeah.
read that he kind of liked it.
Well, he did, but it's not like him going ballistic with the other Marvel movies. So I think they'd be saying that was such a fun show.
What was a fun show? Do you know what she's talking about?
I'm assuming it has something to do with your show and not mine.
Oh, maybe the Oscar
Well,
show.
The train, the very first one we had. We're not going to go there.
What happened on the first one? Is that the one? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not bringing it up.
Yep.
Good thing I'm heavily medicated. I don't remember any of these things.
Ooh. Somebody
Yeah.
may have
Wait. You're talking about an Oscar show we did a couple of Oscars ago?
Two or three shows ago.
2-3 years ago, yeah.
And
It
one
had to
of
be.
our guests was saying stuff about another guest in the green room. I was overheard. That was
an Oscar. That was an Oscar night.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We're not gonna go down that rabbit hole.
No,
Okay.
we have enough rabbit. I mean, I have the whole Bugs Bunny cutting off Florida rabbit hole. I have to deal with now. I'm trying to get canceled in Florida. How am I doing?
I haven't been able to do it yet, so
Keep trying, pal.
right. It's been 6 years now.
So, Joe, is there anything you want to promote before we wrap this puppy up?
Absolutely. Go to David Lee Madison's The End of the Night on Facebook. Hit the like and subscribe button. Also, the Indie Escape Network. And I've got those little symbols here somewhere. Please like and follow us on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. I got them all right the first time. Woo!
Nice.
And Mr. Schiaffo, you have a website that you haven't been plugging.
You mean my .com?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess scottschaffo.com it's basically a one-page portal to all of my social media, really.
With that being said, thank you everybody for joining
Oh,
us.
wait a minute, Joe, you're probably talking about the animal charity, and I'm not saying anything. Yes, there's a link to merch that's available where a majority of the proceeds go to Angels of Animals here in New Jersey, which is the furry ones always appreciate your patronage. So thank you very much for that. I do appreciate it when people come through that portal.
Hey, Haven for Heroes, Emmett.
And Terry don't feel tardy at all. Why should you? We only talked about you for 10 minutes tonight, and you just now, whatever. It is what it is.
Hi, Emmett from
Understand.
Haven for Heroes. We were talking about your.
Isn't he citing? He's citing David Lee Roth, right? I don't feel tardy.
Yeah.
Is it
Oh, Hot for Teacher. Okay, got it. Wow, yeah, that went over my head. You know,
Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's not.
no, that sounds about right. It's a 40-year reference. But,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, Terry said yes. So that's damn. Hey, Dave. Just because he brought it up, any update on Diamond Dave?
No. He's resting at home.
Okay.
He's doing his podcast. Right before his illness was at its apex, he recorded a whole bunch of Van Halen classics with some studio cats that he's now releasing exclusively on his podcast page. So if you want to hear his latest and greatest recordings, they're on his podcast page with studio cats, but they're all kind of remakes of his Van Halen classic. Well, they really remakes if he's doing them, I guess not. They're just reimaginings of his Van Halen classics. And again, I don't mean to bring this show down, but it's very important to me that everybody out there keeps, regardless of what your politics are, Jimmy Carter is a wonderful, wonderful human being. If he's a Republican, he's a wonderful human being. If he's a Democrat, he's a wonderful human being. No matter what affiliation that man would be, he is just a wonderful human being. So it has nothing to do with politics. Jimmy, sadly, is about to leave us. And I hope everybody who's watching this show and everybody in this country takes a minute to reflect upon a man who gave his entire life to humanity and to kindness and to being just a wonderful human being. So I hope everybody takes a minute and keeps Jimmy Carter, former President Jimmy Carter, in their prayers, because he is one of the kindest and most wonderful people to ever grace this planet. And with that being said, we will see you guys week after next, unless we decide to do a show next week. I have no idea what the hell's going on. With that being said, thank you, Jeremy Ambler, for joining us tonight. Thank you, everybody who is watching the show tonight. Thank you to my brothers here who make this show possible. Without these guys, I would just be watching Yellowstone right now. And with that being said, be kind to each other. And remember, no man is a failure who has friends. Godspeed, Jimmy.
Yeah.